I want you to receive this in the stillness within your own heart. Do not treat these words as entertainment, but as a mirror held gently before you. My child, I have never left you. I do not come with thunder to startle you into obedience, nor do I arrive to shame you into change. I reach you like the first light of dawn, quiet and certain, revealing what is already there, warming what has already grown cold, waking what still belongs to the day. This is not condemnation, nor is it abandonment. I do not speak to instill fear in you, but that you may live. As it is written, "Be still and know that I am God." Psalm 46:10. So in this moment, let your inner waters find their shore. Pause, breathe, let the noise settle. Hear me. What you have been calling small is not small if it steals your stillness. The drift of a soul does not begin with dramatic rebellion. It begins with tiny permissions you keep repeating, with soft allowances that whisper, later, until your feet have already moved. When you name a thing small simply because it does not shout, you overlook how faithfully it returns to your door, minute after minute, hour after hour, training your attention away from the place where I wait to speak with you. A drop of water on stone seems harmless, yet over time it carves a path. So it is with the small that steals the quiet place inside you. Do you notice the subtle symptoms you keep explaining away? A fog that sits where clarity used to be, prayers that start strong and end in fragments, a restlessness that has no name, a heaviness that sleep does not fix, an impatience that flares at nothing in particular. Your joy feels dim without a clear reason. Your yes and no are softer at the edges. Your inner compass hesitates where it used to point true. My beloved, these are not random waves. They are signals that you are moving with a current you did not choose. They are not accusations. They are lights turning on in the hallway of your soul to remind you where the doors are and where your feet have wandered. The habits that feed this drift are not always the ones you call sin. Very often they are the ones you call just life. Scrolling that keeps your thumb in motion when I am asking your heart to be still. Numbing that mutes what hurts until it also mutes what is holy. Overworking that convinces you that usefulness is safety. Late nights that borrow tomorrow's strength and spend it on noise. Constant sound that fills the room because silence feels like exposure. I am not naming a single villain for you to defeat with willpower. I am inviting you to recognize yourself in the mirror of your own symptoms. Do you see how many different doors lead to the same absence of stillness? Do you sense how quietly you have learned to flee the quiet? Your discernment does not die loudly. It dims. It is like a lamp covered with a thin cloth, still burning but muted, light still present but diffused until the edges blur. You do not wake up one day having lost your ear for my voice. You simply begin to hear me as if through a wall, familiar but faint, and you adjust by increasing the volume of everything else, hoping that more input will create more certainty. Yet light is truthful by nature. It reveals in order to heal. If you will remove the cloth of constant noise, you will see that the flame is not gone. As it is written, your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. Psalm 119:105. The lamp remains. The covering is what must be addressed. I want you to understand this early, while the ground is still soft under your feet. I do not measure you by speed, but by direction. A single step back toward stillness is more precious than 1,000 hurried strides taken away from your center. This is why I speak now, gently yet plainly, before the habit hardens into identity, before delay engraves new grooves into your days. The drift begins when you call it small, when you make a covenant with just a moment more, when you trade the room where we meet for a hallway lined with passing images and never stop long enough to ask, is this still nourishing me? Is this what I would be found doing if I were fully awake? Listen to the unease that rises when your hand reaches for noise without thinking. That unease is not your enemy. It is a friend I have stationed at the door of your heart. It is my spirit placing a hand on your shoulder and urging you to remain, to let the silt in your thoughts settle until the water runs clear. As it is written, today if you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts. Hebrews 3:15. The hardness does not come from great offenses. It comes from many small refusals to pause. But I am near, and I am kind, and I am patient with your learning. Return to me, and I will return to you. So begin here. Pause. Breathe. Let the noise settle. Not as a performance, but as a homecoming. Put your device face down for a few minutes. Let the music fall to silence. Sit in the room where you can hear your own heartbeat. Whisper only this if you have no other words. I need you. That one sentence is enough to open the window. That one sentence is strong enough to begin removing the thin cloth. I do not come to trap you in rules. I come to free you into clarity. I'm not asking you to do everything at once. I am asking you to make room for the one who guides you. My child, you are not in trouble. You are being called back. This invitation is not a test that you might fail. It is a rescue that has arrived on time. The drift that begins when you call it small is real, but the return begins when you call me near. If the world has trained you to fill every blank space with noise, I will retrain you to recognize stillness as safety. I see where you are headed, and I know the plans I have for you. I am your light and your salvation. Whom shall you fear? As it is written, the Lord is my light and my salvation. Psalm 27:1. Come back to the quiet and watch how quickly clarity returns when light is no longer covered. Remain long enough to listen more clearly. I am here. My beloved, I want you to hear this as gently as the morning light that finds your room before your eyes are ready to open. The signals are already present within you. You do not need a thunderclap to convince you. You need the honesty to name what has been speaking in whispers. This is not condemnation, nor is it abandonment. I do not come to point at your weakness and leave you there. I come to lift your face and show you the path that preserves your life. I am near. I have been placing small lamps along your way, tender, consistent, easily overlooked, so that you would not stumble where the ground changes beneath your feet. There are interior signs you have been explaining away, calling them just a season, just tired, just busy, when in truth they are the language your spirit uses to ask for quiet. An unease without a clear reason that rises when you reach for noise you do not need. Joy that once came like a stream now feels dim, arriving slower and leaving sooner. Prayer that begins but feels delayed at the threshold, as if your words wait outside the door for you to truly arrive. Restless sleep that does not refresh you, even when the hours were there. Quick irritation that flares at small interruptions you used to welcome as part of love. A constant need to check something. Your phone, a door, a feed, a score, as if certainty lived a few swipes away. A mind that cannot remain in one place, scattering itself across many rooms and never finishing a sentence within. Do you recognize yourself in these patterns, my child? Do you see how they have gathered not to accuse you, but to guide you? Understand this. Your uneasiness is not proof that you are failing. It is evidence that I am very near. It is an inner restraint laid across your path, like a gentle hand on your shoulder, to keep you from stepping into harm you cannot yet see. The discomfort you feel when silence approaches is not punishment. It is a bell calling you back to the place where I speak most clearly. Do you recognize the moment your peace leaves? Do you notice what you reach for when silence approaches? What tab opens without your permission? What room do you enter to avoid the one where we meet? These questions are not tests. They are doorways into truth, and truth is the friend that returns you to yourself. Not condemnation, but awakening. Not abandonment, but intervention. Not that you are far, but that you are flooded with noise. The fog you feel is not a verdict. It is weather that clears when you step again beneath my light. As it is written, I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. I will counsel you with my loving eye on you. Psalm 32:8. Do you hear the tone of that promise? Loving eye, instruction that comes with care, teaching that arrives with presence. I am not calling you out to embarrass you. I am calling you in to preserve you. When your joy feels dim, it is not that joy has been taken from you. It is that too many lesser lights have adjusted your eyes away from the brightness of what is real. When prayer feels delayed, it is not because I am far off. It is because your attention lingers in doorways, listening for footsteps that are not mine. When your sleep is restless, do not only count the hours, count the voices you brought into the bed with you. When irritation comes quickly, do not only blame the interruption. Ask if your reserves have been spent on noise instead of refreshed by stillness. When you feel the constant need to check something, do not shame yourself for the impulse. Trace it back to the ache that believes certainty can be purchased with one more glance. When your mind will not remain in one place, do not scold it like a rebellious child. Take it by the hand and lead it back to the quiet, where it learns again how to be held. My child, I know where you are headed, and I know where the ground turns to shadow a few steps ahead of you. This is why I set unease in your chest as a guard at the gate, not to keep you from joy, but to keep you from walking past the lamp that was meant to show you the next stone. I am your light. My light does not only comfort, it exposes the places where you are about to step into harm so that you may turn. Light is truthful by nature, it reveals to heal. Darkness is where unaddressed patterns grow, where what you call small learns to make a home. I am not scaring you, I am saving you from what grows in the places you refuse to see. Do you remember how a parent extends a hand before a child reaches the edge of the street? That hand is not severity, it is safety. So is the tug in your spirit when you are about to trade a holy pause for another scroll, another task, another late-night hour that borrows tomorrow's strength and spends it on noise. So is the ache that says, not this, not now, when your habits try to manage your pain without inviting me into it. If you would allow these tugs to matter, you would feel how loved you are in the very moment your discomfort appears. Pause here. Do not argue with the symptom. Listen to it. Let it speak what you have been avoiding. That you are tired in places sleep cannot reach, hungry in ways food does not satisfy, busy in a manner that never arrives where it promised to take you. Let the unease name the doorway you keep skipping, the quiet where your discernment is renewed. If today you feel the gentle restraint within, do not harden your heart against it. Do not say, later, when I am saying, now. Delay wraps itself in softness and calls itself reasonable, but each later trains your ear to ignore the bell that preserves your life. Hear me. I am not measuring you with a ruler of performance. I am shepherding you by a lamp of presence. I do not come to weigh you down. I come to lift the weight you have gathered from 1,000 small agreements with distraction. Allow these signs to be what they are. Mercy on the move. Love with its sleeves rolled up. My hand finding yours before you wander where you cannot see the drop. The signal is not the storm. It is the early breeze that tells you to come inside where you are held, to close the windows of your attention, to sit beside me until the light returns clear and strong. My beloved, remain long enough to listen more clearly. I am already instructing you. I am already counseling you with my loving eye upon you. Return to the quiet light not as a punishment, but as home. And as you do, you will discover that the very symptoms you feared were signs of failure were in fact the gentle alarms of my mercy, guiding you back to the place where your discernment sharpens, your peace deepens, and your steps align with the good path I have prepared for you. My beloved, I am bringing you nearer to the center so that you can see the root that hides beneath many branches. The problem you are facing is not only a device in your hand, a schedule on your wall, or a bedtime that keeps slipping past wisdom. Those are surface patterns that reveal something deeper. The habit beneath many habits is this: a reflex to escape stillness at the very moment I draw near to speak. It is the quick reach toward anything that hums, flashes, fills, or distracts, so that you do not have to remain with what the quiet would reveal. This is not condemnation, nor is it abandonment. I am not exposing this to shame you, but to set you free from what quietly steers your days. I do not come with thunder to overwhelm your will. I come like dawn, patient and insistent, so that what has been shaping you in shadow may be seen in light and lose its hold. Stillness is not empty. It is not a blank space where nothing happens. Stillness is the room where truth arrives first. When you become still before me, what you have been carrying steps into view, the questions you postponed, the grief you postponed, the motives you dressed in noble words, the conversations you have avoided, the promises you made to yourself and then broke, the desires that frighten you because you are not sure they are holy, the fears that pretend to be caution, the guilt that pretends to be humility. In the quiet, these come forward not to condemn, but to be healed, to be sorted in my light, to be named so that they no longer govern you from the dark. Yet in that first revealing there is often discomfort, and it is right there in that first ache that your reflex awakens and you reach for noise as medicine. Noise is a fast-acting anesthetic. It does not heal, it numbs. It replaces the steady light of my counsel with a dim glow where you can still function but cannot see details, where your soul can still move but does not know precisely where it is going. When you medicate the first discomfort of stillness, you blunt the very signals that would have led you to wisdom, and the cycle builds itself quietly. The more you medicate, the less you discern. The less you discern, the more you feel you must medicate to soothe the unease that now has no name. And the more you soothe without listening, the thinner your peace becomes, until even rest feels like work and joy slips through your fingers like water you cannot hold. Do you see the pattern, my child? Do you recognize how often this loop begins at the doorway of silence, when you were one breath away from hearing me more clearly? Hear me gently and receive this as rescue. The first wave of discomfort in stillness is not danger, it is truth arriving. When pain has been deferred, when questions have been stored away unaddressed, when your conscience has been whispering for days while you kept the volume up, the quiet will feel like a bright window opened suddenly in a dark room. Your eyes will squint. Your heart will tighten. You will want to shade the light and return to the familiar dim. But I am the light that heals, not the light that harms. My illumination does not expose you to destroy you. It reveals to restore you. So I say to you now, with tenderness and authority, do not rush. Remain. Let the first discomfort pass. It is not danger. Often it is truth arriving. Breathe through the urge to escape. Name to me, even in a whisper, what you are tempted to avoid. I am here, and I am safe. Noise, when received as medicine instead of as tool, becomes a dim room where unaddressed things grow. Grievances gather moss there. Fears put down roots where they should have been lifted out. Lies learn your language and mimic your reasoning until you cannot tell the difference between anxious logic and holy caution. In the dim, you learn to navigate by habit instead of by light. and habit will always default to the roads already carved by convenience or fear. But light, my light, is truthful by nature. It reveals so that it may heal. It exposes so that you may be free. Open the window, draw back the curtain. Let the room of your soul be flooded again. As it is written, your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. Psalm 119, 105. Lamp to your feet, so you do not stumble. Light to your path, so you do not wander into shadow believing it is safety. Understand this too. I am not asking you to master a technique. I am inviting you to return to a table. Stillness is not performance. It is presence. It is the place where you stop measuring your value by motion and remember that you are loved before you accomplish, known before you explain, held before you hold anything together. I do not measure you by speed, but by direction. A few faithful minutes turned toward me will do more to restore your discernment than hours spent gathering opinions to confirm what your uneasiness already tried to tell you. Not more noise, but nearer light. Not more effort, but honest presence. So when you feel the reflex rise, the hand that reaches for a distraction before you have chosen it, the mind that wants to fill the silence with plans or podcasts or problems, notice it and stay. Count slowly to 30 if you must. Place your device face down and slide it out of reach. Sit where you can feel your own breath. Whisper what is true. I am here. You are here. Ask the simplest of questions. What is seeking my attention in your light right now? Remain for the minute after the minute you would have escaped. That minute is a doorway. Often in that 1 minute the fog thins and a single next step appears. Send the message you have delayed. Release the apology you have rehearsed. Forgive the small offense you have held too tightly. Bring to me the fear you could not name. I will meet you not with a flood of demands, but with one lamp's worth of guidance for your next step. And the next. And the next. If you tremble at what might surface in the quiet, know this. I am more gentle than your fear imagines, and I am more holy than your avoidance can manage. I will not break the bruised reed, nor will I quench the faintly burning wick. I will not rush you through your own heart. I will walk with you in truth, unafraid of what we will find because I have already planned your healing. Darkness is where unaddressed patterns grow strong, but no darkness is stronger than truth. When you let light in, what once commanded you begins to loosen, and you remember who you are under my gaze. My beloved, I am not far. I have been near through every restless reach, watching, waiting for the moment you would turn and let me be the comfort you have been borrowing from lesser lights. Return not in a mood, but in a choice. Choose the quiet place as an act of trust. Choose it when you least feel like it. Choose it when your schedule argues. Choose it when the first ache appears and calls you toward another quick escape. Each time you refuse the reflex and remain, your discernment sharpens, your peace deepens, and your steps recover their confidence. Do you see? The real danger was never the app, the task list, the late hour. It was the training of your soul to flee the very stillness where my light restores you. I am here to retrain you by love. I will place my hand upon your shoulder when you start to rise, and I will whisper, stay. I will guard the room where we meet and fill it with a presence that calms you, even while truth is being named. I will make the quiet a refuge, not a threat, and I will teach you to discern again, to sense the slight turn in the path before your foot steps there. Walk with me into the light, one pause at a time. Remain long enough to listen more clearly, and as you do, you will find that the habit behind many habits loses its command, and the lamp returns to your feet, and the path ahead is no longer a guessing game, but a guided way, steady and bright beneath my loving eye. My beloved, let us hold the mirror a little nearer. I am not here to scold you, but to show you what has been shaping your attention without your consent. The first candidate that often hides in plain sight is the endless scroll. It seems harmless, it arrives politely, it waits in your pocket as a companion with answers and amusements, yet it trains you in a way you do not intend. This is not condemnation, nor is it abandonment. I am not counting your swipes. I am guarding your soul. I want you to see the training that is happening, how the feed conditions you to move on the moment something requires depth, how it teaches your spirit to leave before I finish speaking, how it rewards skimming and punishes lingering. Do you see? When you train your attention to skim, you begin to treat my voice like content instead of counsel. You taste and move along. You nod and keep walking. You sample what was meant to be swallowed, digested, lived. Skimming forms a reflex. If it does not light in a second, it is past. If it asks for silence, it is postponed. If it invites surrender, it is saved to a folder you never open again. And slowly, without declaring it, you live by a pace that does not match the cadence of wisdom. As it is written, incline your ear and come to me. Hear that your soul may live. Isaiah 55:3. Incline, lean in, requires time. The scroll trains the opposite. Notice the spiritual symptoms that ride close behind. You cannot sit with conviction long enough to obey. The sting begins to awaken change, and then your thumb moves without permission. You cannot sit with comfort long enough to receive. My tenderness approaches, and yet the tickle to check, to see, to compare, to gather one more voice arrives and interrupts the embrace. You cannot sit with prayer long enough to hear. Words begin, but you keep a back door open. You keep half your senses stationed at the window waiting for some other sound. Do you notice how silence feels boring now? Do you see how quickly you reach for your phone when your heart grows quiet? This is not a verdict against you. It is a description of a training you did not plan to take. I am here to retrain you by love. Understand what the scroll does to your ear. It collapses time into tiny squares and whispers that everything meaningful can be consumed in a few seconds with a caption beneath. It makes you a judge before you are a listener. It multiplies voices until even truth begins to feel like one more opinion among many. It confuses stimulation with nourishment. But you are not made to live by stimulation. You are made to live by communion. Not information, but transformation. Not stimulation, but communion. Not another voice, but my voice. As it is written, my sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. John 10:27. Hearing that leads to following cannot happen at the speed of skimming. Delay hides here too, wrapped in a soft word, later. One more scroll, one more glance, one more clip, and then you will return to the thing your spirit already named as important. But each later makes it harder to recognize my voice when it matters most, because your attention has been sliced into many small pieces. Delay in this form does not shout, it hums. It rocks you like a lullaby into a waking sleep. I am not saying this to alarm you, but to awaken you before small postponements become closed doors. As it is written, today, if you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts. Hebrews 3:15. The hardness can look like nothing more than a habit of moving on too quickly. Hear me. I am not asking you to throw your device into the sea. I am asking you to reclaim your soul from the reflex that treats everything as a snippet. Set apart one chosen window each day where your attention is not available to the feed. A window that you choose on purpose, at the start of your morning or at the hour when you tend to drift, or before you lay your head down at night. In that window, put the phone in another room or turn it face down and slide it out of reach. Sit with me. Breathe. Place your hand upon your chest and say the simplest confession. Speak, Lord, your servant is listening. 1 Samuel 3:9. Pause. Put it down. Look at me. In that chosen window, let the urge to reach pass like a wave that rises and falls without moving you. Count to 30 if you must. Name what the urge is trying to protect you from: boredom, sadness, comparison, the ache of an unanswered question. Bring that very thing into the light. Tell me the truth in small sentences. I am restless. I am lonely. I am afraid I am missing out. I do not know what to do next. I will not shame you for these admissions. I will meet you in them. As it is written, when you pray, go into your room, shut the door, and pray to your Father who is in secret, and your Father who sees in secret will reward you. Matthew 6:6. The reward is not a trinket. It is light for your next step, peace that stays, wisdom that holds. Then open my word slowly, not as content to consume, but as counsel to obey. Read a few lines and stop. Ask, what are you saying to me now? Wait long enough for a sentence to settle. If a verse stirs you, do not rush to the next. Remain with it until it speaks to your feet, not only your feelings. Write one obedience you will do today because of what you heard. Small is holy when it is real. As it is written, turn my eyes from looking at worthless things and give me life in your ways. Psalm 119:37. Worthless does not mean evil. It means weightless when compared to the life that is offered. Your eyes are too precious to be spent entirely on what will not last. Do not be surprised if, at first, the quiet feels resistant and your thoughts scatter. Years of skimming will not be unlearned in a single pause, but each chosen window tilts the scale. I do not measure you by speed, but by direction. As the days pass, you will notice the symptoms begin to reverse. Conviction will stay in the room long enough to become action. Comfort will linger until your breathing slows and your shoulders drop. Prayer will move from a hallway to a table. And when the phone calls you back with its familiar song, you will know how to say, not now, I am with the one who gives me life. My beloved, I am not trying to take from you. I am returning you to yourself. The endless feed does not deserve infinite access to the garden of your attention. Guard the gate, choose the window, practice the pause. When you feel the reflex awaken, hear my whisper above it. Stay, listen, remain long enough to listen more clearly. The habit that trained you to skim can be retrained by love to listen. And as you listen, you will discover again that my voice is not an item on a feed. It is the lamp to your feet and the light to your path. As it is written, your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. Psalm 119:105. Walk with me in that light, one faithful pause at a time, and watch how quickly clarity returns when your soul no longer treats counsel as content, but as life. My beloved, let us turn the light to the next quiet thief, not loud like rebellion, but soft like a blanket pulled over the eyes. I am speaking about numbing, the subtle habit of soothing what aches without inviting me to heal it. This is not condemnation, nor is it abandonment. I am not angry that you have sought relief. I am calling you to safer comfort, because false comfort always asks for more and gives you less. Do you see how it comes disguised as kindness? One more episode to unwind, one more glass to take the edge off, one more purchase to spark a moment of brightness, one more bag to fill a hollow that returns in the morning, one more late-night grazing at the fridge, one more podcast in your ears so you do not have to hear your own heart. Entertainment binges, substances used to blur, compulsive shopping that promises a new self in a box at the door, constant voices filling the air so you never walk with your own thoughts, emotional eating shaped like a hug that never quite embraces you, anything that quiets pain without healing it. That is the numbing I am gently exposing. Hear me. Whatever numbs your pain long enough will eventually numb your discernment too. The same blanket that mutes the ache also muffles what is holy. Gratitude becomes faint like a song you used to know but cannot quite sing. Conviction feels distant not because I have stopped speaking, but because your heart has grown heavy-lidded. Worship becomes mechanical, your mouth moves, but your attention lives elsewhere. Joy feels like a memory of sunlight rather than a present warmth. And you begin to call this dullness normal, even maturity, as if cynicism were wisdom. My child, the dullness is not your design. You were made for light. Do you notice how these comforts never truly end with comfort? They ask you to return a little sooner each time, with a little more cost, and they deliver a little less relief. They promise to be your shelter, then send you away more tired, more scattered, more dependent on their next round. Delay lives here too, wrapped in mercy-sounding phrases. I'll deal with it tomorrow, after this season. But tomorrow does not return what tonight spent on numbness. Later becomes a quiet thief of clarity. I am not saying this to frighten you, I am saying it to free you. As it is written, in returning and rest you shall be saved. In quietness and in trust shall be your strength. Isaiah 30:15. Not in numbing, but in returning. Not in running, but in rest. Consider Elijah, my prophet, who ran until the wilderness swallowed his courage. He was honest about the weight he could no longer carry. He lay down under a broom tree and asked to be done. Did I scold him? Did I demand he push through? No. I sent an angel with bread and water, strength first, then guidance. He slept. He ate. He was strengthened for the journey. And when I met him again, it was not with thunder, not with earthquake, not with fire, but with a whisper so gentle he had to be still to hear it. This is the pattern I want you to see. Restoration that tends the body and soul, then counsel that arrives in stillness, as it is written, and after the fire a still small voice. And Elijah wrapped his face in his cloak. 1 Kings 19:12-13. My voice met him where numbing would have abandoned him. This is how I meet you. I know the reasons you reach for anesthetics. There are sorrows you have not voiced, disappointments layered like sediment, anxiety that wakes before your alarm, shame that circulates hidden sentences through your mind. I do not minimize these. I do not call your pain small. I call it by its name and invite it into my light, because I am more faithful than any comfort that leaves you dim. As it is written, the Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves the crushed in spirit. Psalm 34:18. Near, not far. Saving, not scolding. Let us be honest in simple words. When you sit alone, what ache begins to rise? When the house is quiet, what fear knocks? When you close your eyes, what memory presses forward? You have taught yourself to hush these with quick offerings. A screen's glow, a pour, a cart, a snack, a voice in your ear that is not mine, not evil in themselves, but misused until they rule you gently. I am reaching now not to pry them from your hands as a thief, but to place your true comfort inside your reach. Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Matthew 11:28. Come to me, not to the numbing that leaves you heavier in the morning. Here is the doorway back to clear discernment, and it is low enough for anyone to pass through. Bring me what you have been anesthetizing. Speak one honest sentence. I need you. That one confession breaks the illusion that you must manage your pain alone. That sentence opens the window of the soul. Sit with me and name the pattern without ornament. I run to this when I feel that. I hide here when I am afraid of that. I choose this when I am angry about that. Then pause. Do not rush to fix. Let the first wave pass. Breathe. Ask, what is the truth you are saying to me now? I will answer with a step, not a flood. Sometimes the step will be rest and water like Elijah, sleep, a good meal, a walk beneath the sky, a phone put away for an evening so your mind can settle. Sometimes the step will be confession and repair, an apology that clears a room in your heart. Sometimes the step will be simply to stay seated with me long enough that the ache speaks clearly and loses its power to bully you from the shadows. I do not break the bruised reed. I do not snuff the smoldering wick. I do not expose you to shame you, but to free you from the quiet bind that numbing has made. As it is written, a bruised reed he will not break, and a faintly burning wick he will not quench. Isaiah 42:3. My discipline in this is mercy. If I interrupt your routines, if I close a familiar outlet, if I make your old comforts taste flat, it is not punishment, it is preservation. I am intervening early so you are not carried too far away. My child, you are not a creature of cravings. You are my beloved, formed for light, called to walk with a clear ear and a steady heart. Your gratitude will return when the blanket lifts. Your conviction will ring again like a bell, not to condemn you, but to guide you. Your worship will breathe. Your joy will warm you from within like fire well tended, not because you performed perfectly, but because you chose the safer comfort and allowed me to be your refuge. As it is written, Blessed be the God, the Father of mercies and God of all comfort, who comforts us in all our affliction. 2 Corinthians 1:3-4. My comfort does not dull, it awakens. My presence does not erase truth, it strengthens you to bear it and be healed. Now, when the urge rises, one more episode, one more bite, one more add to cart, one more pour, one more voice in your ear, pause, put it down, place your hand over your heart, whisper, I need you. Wait the minute after the minute you would have escaped. Let me be the one who meets you in the ache. The very place you feared to enter alone will become the place of encounter, and the numbness that once covered you will fall away like night before the first light of dawn. Return to me, and your discernment will return with you. Remain long enough to listen more clearly, and watch how the holy becomes audible again, how the next step appears, how your identity wakes and stands, unafraid, in my light. My beloved, let us bring the light to another refuge that looks respectable, even admirable, yet becomes a shelter that keeps you from the healing I am offering. I am speaking of overworking, the way you make productivity a shield, the way you outrun the ache by adding one more task, the way you keep motion constant so that the questions cannot catch you. This is not condemnation, nor is it abandonment. I am not here to scold your diligence or despise your service. I am here to protect your heart from a good thing turned into a quiet master. Do you see how this sanctified hiding place forms? You tell yourself you are being faithful, and yet your hands will not rest. You make your usefulness your safety, your checklist, your shelter, your calendar, your conscience. You busy yourself so you do not have to feel what is rising, so you do not have to face family conversations that are fragile, grief that is unprocessed, memories that are heavy, prayers that will ask of you a new surrender. You stay moving so you will not have to remain long enough to listen. Busyness can feel like protection, but it quietly trains you to ignore the very stillness where I guide you. When you let activity be your armor, you begin to believe that as long as you are needed, you are safe. As long as you are producing, you are secure. As long as you are holding everything up, nothing can fall upon you. But hear me. I am your safety, not your usefulness. I am your refuge, not your results. I am your stability, not your schedule. When you run from stillness into ceaseless doing, you exchange my lamp for your momentum, and momentum cannot see what light exposes. Notice the spiritual symptoms that arise, and do not explain them away. Prayer becomes a task to complete rather than a place to breathe. You time it, you measure it, you move on. Rest begins to taste like guilt. When you stop, Your mind accuses, your chest tightens, your hand reaches to fill the pause with another project so that you can feel right again. Obedience starts to feel like interruption when I nudge you to sit, to call, to step aside, to listen, to change direction. You feel it as an inconvenience to your plan rather than a lifeline to your future. You begin to confuse motion with direction, adrenaline with anointing, busyness with faithfulness. You speak of calling, yet you avoid the quiet where I actually give orders. Do you see how subtly this has taken root? In this pattern, delay disguises itself as diligence. I will return to the quiet after I finish this list. I will listen once I clear the backlog. I will tend to my soul when the season slows. But the season does not slow. New demands backfill the space you never guarded. Meanwhile, your sensitivity to my small signals, turn here, wait there, speak now, be silent, grows dull, not because you are rebellious, but because you are crowded. And doors can close in this quiet crowding. Opportunities missed because you could not discern. Relationships strained because you were present in body but absent in attention. Invitations from me unheard because the hum of your own engine drowned them out. I am not speaking this to frighten you. I am speaking to awaken you gently before what is soft solidifies into a way of life. Receive my contrast that breaks the spell. I do not measure you by speed but by direction, not by output but by obedience, not by your hustle but by your heart turned toward me. As it is written, be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. Stillness first, then knowledge. Knowledge first, then wise motion. As it is written also, come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Matthew 11:28. Come, not to a new strategy, not to better time management, but to me, and I will give, not demand. I will give rest, not additional burdens. Consider Martha and Mary. Martha welcomed me, and her service mattered. Yet anxiety braided through her motion until she resented the one who chose stillness. Mary sat at my feet and listened. I defended her choice, not to dismiss Martha's love, but to reveal the order that protects the heart. Presence before productivity, listening before labor, communion before contribution. As it is written, Martha, Martha, you are anxious and troubled about many things, but one thing is necessary. Mary has chosen the good portion. Luke 10:41-42. One thing is necessary, and from that one thing, every other thing finds its rightful place. Hear this mercy. I am not taking your work from you. I am returning you to the place where your work becomes worship instead of escape. Work is holy when it flows from stillness. It is heavy when it tries to replace it. It is vain to rise early and stay up late, eating the bread of anxious toil, for I give to my beloved sleep. As it is written, it is in vain that you rise up early and go late to rest, eating the bread of anxious toil, for he gives to his beloved sleep. Psalm 127:2. Sleep is not laziness when it is received as trust. Rest is not avoidance when it is obedience. Stopping is not irresponsibility when I am the one who says, stop. So here is your doorway today, low and simple within reach. One act of holy restraint. Stop one unnecessary task today, not because you are lazy, but because you are listening. When you feel the drive to send one more email just to quiet the twitch, when you begin a new task simply to avoid a conversation with me, when you are about to say yes to an invitation that does not belong to your assignment, pause, put it down. Place your hand over your heart and whisper, I am yours, not a machine. What is the next obedience, not the next activity? Count to 30. Listen for the small pivot. You may hear, close the laptop and sit with me. You may hear, take a walk and breathe. You may hear, call the person, not to solve, but to be present. You may hear, "Lay your head down." Tomorrow requires a rested mind. Obedience often looks like interruption to your plan, but it is alignment with mine. If I interrupt you with a closed window, a delay you did not schedule, a weakness you did not choose, do not only pray for the strength to plow through. Ask me what I am protecting. Ask me what I am redirecting. There are forms of mercy that do not appear gentle on the surface, deadlines that fall through so you finally stop, meetings canceled so you can hear, opportunities withheld so your identity is not mortgaged to applause. This is not punishment, it is preservation. I intervene early so you are not carried too far by a current that looks like success but pulls you from the shore of my presence. My child, you are not hired help, you are my beloved. Your worth does not rise and fall with your productivity graph. You are known before you perform, loved before you deliver, held before you hold anything together. Your future is not secured by your constant management. It is secured by my hand. Return to me in the middle of the day when the pace is high. Close your door for 2 minutes and breathe my name. Step outside and feel the air I made. Read one verse slowly and let it become counsel, not content. Choose the holy stop. Guard the small pause. Practice Sabbath in miniature moments so that the larger rhythm can be recovered. As you do this, watch the symptoms begin to loosen. Prayer will become a table, not a checkbox. Rest will lose its accusation and return as gift. Obedience will feel like flow, not interruption. Motion will recover its meaning because it will match direction. Your work will bear fruit with less strain because it will be rooted in light rather than fueled by fear. Remain long enough to listen more clearly. I am not subtracting your impact. I am multiplying it by aligning it with my heart. Walk with me, not ahead of me. Be still and know, then go and do. And as you guard the stillness, you will find that the very path you feared would collapse without your constant effort is held, kept, protected, and bright beneath the light of my loving eye. My beloved, let us speak now of the hour when the house grows quiet and the lights are low, when your defenses are most tired and your soul is most tempted to trade stillness for a softer noise. I am not coming to condemn your late hours as if night were evil. I made the night as a gift for rest, a blanket for your body, a window for your spirit to breathe. But I am here to name a drift that hides in that hour. The way you stay awake, not because you are free, but because you are avoiding the silence of your own thoughts and the weight of tomorrow. One more episode, one more message, one more scroll, one more load in the machine, one more snack, one more just to unwind, and the clock keeps moving while your clarity slips quietly away. Do you see? When you sacrifice rest to avoid stillness, you wake up with less clarity and call it just tiredness. But it is not only fatigue, it is dulled discernment, your spirit muffled because your body is depleted and your mind is overstimulated. Restless sleep, anxious mornings, shortened patience with those you love, fog in your choices, a low-grade irritability that shadows your day. These are not random. They are the fruit of hours spent in the glow of distraction instead of the shelter of my presence. As it is written, "It is in vain that you rise up early and go late to rest, eating the bread of anxious toil, for he gives to his beloved sleep." Psalm 127:2. I give you sleep as mercy, not as a luxury you must earn by complete control of your lists. Hear this with gentleness. The night is not your enemy, but when you use it to hide, darkness becomes an environment where the unaddressed multiplies. Thoughts that were small in the daylight grow large beneath the ceiling fan. Worries find companions. Disappointments replay on a loop. Comparison sneaks in more easily when the world is quiet and your screen is loud. Darkness itself is not evil, but it can host what prefers not to be seen. Light reveals in order to heal. As it is written, God is light, and in him is no darkness at all. 1 John 1:5. And again, everyone who does wicked things hates the light, lest his works should be exposed. John 3:20. I am not accusing you of wickedness. I am showing you that what stays unaddressed in the night will ask for your attention in the morning with greater strength. Delay whispers here with a velvet voice. Later, later, later. I will lie down after this next clip. I will turn it off when the credits roll. I will pray once I feel calmer. I will face that conversation in the morning. But the morning arrives thinner because the night consumed what tomorrow needed. This is why your day begins with chasing rather than choosing, with noise before nourishment. I do not speak this to instill fear in you, but that you may live. As it is written, today, if you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts. Hebrews 3:15. Softness toward me at night will give you sharpness for me by day. I know what you are trying to soothe at midnight, the ache that rises when the house is still, the memory that presses forward when the tasks are done, the fear of not being enough, the dread of what could go wrong, the loneliness that hums when no one is asking for you. My child, I am near in that hour. I do not shame you for staying awake. I invite you to come to me before you go to your substitutes. As it is written, on my bed I remember you. I think of you through the watches of the night. Psalm 63:6. Your bed can become an altar, not a marketplace for noise. If I sometimes interrupt your late-night rituals, an app that refuses to load, a show that loses its appeal, a battery that runs low, a friend who cannot talk, a sudden wave of holy rest that invites your eyes to close, do not only fight through it and call it inconvenience. Consider that I am rescuing you from lesser fires and drawing you into the rest that heals. This is not restriction, but rescue. This is not punishment, but preservation. As it is written, in peace I will both lie down and sleep. For you alone, O Lord, make me dwell in safety. Psalm 4:8. Here is a doorway you can enter tonight, small, steady, within reach. Sanctify the evening. Return to stillness before you return to sleep. Choose a closing time and offer it to me as an act of trust, not as a rule to prove yourself. 30 minutes before that time, turn off the glow. Put your device in another room or face down and beyond reach. Dim the lights. Sit quietly and breathe slowly. Place your hand over your heart and say, I release this day to you. Name what you carry aloud. 3 gratitudes, 1 grief, 1 need. Cast your burden on me. As it is written, casting all your anxieties on him because he cares for you. 1 Peter 5:7. Open my word for a few lines, not for achievement, but for anchoring. Let a single sentence tuck you in. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Psalm 23:1. Or, when you lie down, you will not be afraid. When you lie down, your sleep will be sweet. Proverbs 3:24. Remain with it. Whisper it until your breathing slows and the tightness in your chest loosens. Pray one simple prayer. Father, I receive your rest as obedience. Then turn off the lamp. Lay your head down. If wakefulness returns, do not reach for the feed. Reach for me. Repeat the sentence. Breathe my name. Let the wakefulness become worship instead of worry. Your bed will learn this new association, a place where I meet you, a place where the night becomes a sanctuary rather than a marketplace. You will notice the fruit quickly. Mornings will rise with more air in them. Patience will lengthen. Small provocations will not claim such large portions of your heart. Decisions will feel less like groping in a fog and more like walking in a lit room. Stillness in the evening sharpens discernment for the day. As it is written, your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. Psalm 119, 105. And again, awake, O sleeper, and arise from the dead, and Christ will shine on you. Ephesians 5:14. Shine on your mornings, on your meetings, on your moments with those you love. My beloved, guard the boundary of night as you would guard a gate to your home, not with fear, but with faith, not to earn my favor, but to receive my gift. I do not measure you by how late you can push, but by the direction of your trust. Come to me in the late hour. Let me lay my hand upon your rest. Return to stillness before you return to sleep, and watch how swiftly clarity returns when darkness is used for healing and not for hiding. I am with you in the watches of the night, and I will meet you at dawn with light. As it is written, he who keeps you will not slumber. The Lord will keep your going out and your coming in from this time forth and forevermore. Psalm 121:3, 8. Rest, my child. I am keeping you. My beloved, do you see the pattern? The forms shift, the thumb that scrolls, the comforts that blur pain, the tasks that never end, the late hours that borrow from dawn, but the fruit is the same. Delay, a gentle whisper, soft and plausible, returns each time. Not now, later will do. I want you to receive this in the stillness within your own heart. This is not condemnation, nor is it abandonment. I am placing my hand upon the quiet lever that has been turning your life without your notice. Delay is not loud rebellion. It is a soft surrender of responsiveness. It wraps itself in kindness and calls itself reasonable. It hums a lullaby over your conscience until what once stirred you now scarcely ripples the surface. Understand this with me. When you repeatedly postpone the moment of listening, the heart grows a callous not by hatred, but by habit. Each later is a thin layer laid upon your sensitivity, and thin layers over many days become armor you never meant to wear. You begin to confuse the absence of alarm with the presence of peace, when in truth your alertness has been dulled by constant deferment. Do you see? I do not speak to instill fear in you, but that you may live. As it is written, today, if you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts. Hebrews 3:15. Not tomorrow, today. Let me name it in your own rhythms so you cannot mistake it. How many times have you felt me nudge you? Turn the screen off now, come sit with me for 5 minutes, send that apology before the sun goes down. And instead, you reached for one more fragment of noise? How many times have you promised me tomorrow, and noticed how the lamp inside grew dimmer, not because I withdrew, but because you replaced the oil of attention with the fumes of distraction? How many times have you sensed the quiet check? Wait, do not say that, do not sign that, do not go there, and you answered, later I will sort this out, and later never arrived. My child, I am not accusing you, I am awakening you. As it is written, do not boast about tomorrow, for you do not know what a day may bring. Proverbs 27:1. Delay is a quiet thief. It does not snatch in daylight. It tiptoe steals in the soft hours when you are sure there is plenty of time. It takes a single grain of responsiveness and says, there are more. It takes a small chance to obey and says, there will be others. It persuades you that meaning is found in momentum rather than in my whisper, and then it hides the cost until the moment matters most. The danger is not only what you might miss, but who you become while missing it. A person who hears but does not respond, sees but does not turn, knows but does not move. Consider the story I have given as a mirror to your age. The 10 virgins waiting with lamps for the bridegroom. 5 carried oil for the long watch. 5 did not. The hour felt delayed. Drowsiness came to all. But when the cry went out at midnight, here is the bridegroom, come out to meet him. The readiness of some and the lack of others was revealed not by noise or effort, but by a quiet reality. oil or no oil, light or no light. The door opened, and then, in a moment that shocked their sleepiness awake, the door closed. This was not panic as a plan. It was intimacy preserved by preparation. As it is written, "Watch therefore, for you know neither the day nor the hour." Matthew 25:13. Watch, not with frenzy, but with a lamp tended in stillness, oil gathered day by day in the quiet with me. Do you sense it now? Delay disguised as later is how doors quietly close, not in anger but in accuracy, not to punish but because time itself moves like a river, and some crossings are made when the water is low. Opportunities to reconcile pass. Signals for protection are missed. Alignments I prepared require your now to meet my now. I see the ripples your choices will make beyond your sight. I warn not to frighten, but to keep you in the light when it matters most. As it is written, look carefully then how you walk, not as unwise, but as wise, redeeming the time because the days are evil. Ephesians 5:15-16. Let us be clear. I do not measure you by speed, but by direction. I am not demanding you to run faster. I am asking you to respond sooner. There is a difference between haste and readiness. Haste runs without hearing. Readiness moves the moment I speak. You may think, but what if I fail again? My child, I have never left you. One responsive yes today breaks a chain of 1,000 yesterdays. As it is written, behold, now is the favorable time. Behold, now is the day of salvation. 2 Corinthians 6:2. Now, not later, because now is where I meet you with light. So here is your doorway, small, specific, and present. Choose one prompt you already know. I have given and obey it today before the sun sets. Not 10, 1. If I have been asking you to turn the device face down at a certain hour, do it tonight. If I have been stirring you to apologize, speak it before you sleep. If I have been calling you to set aside 10 minutes with me, set them aside now and guard them like treasure. If you have felt the nudge to rest instead of push, close the laptop and place your hand over your heart. Whisper, I hear you. Move with me in that single step. As it is written, if you love me, you will keep my commandments. John 14:15. Love makes obedience light. Notice what happens in this small obedience. The fog begins to lift. The inner bell sounds clearer. The weight in your chest loosens as you exchange postponement for presence. Your lamp brightens with oil you did not have to conjure. Grace meets you when you turn. And the more promptly you respond, the more quickly you recognize my voice. The more you recognize my voice, the more safely you walk when the path narrows. Delay grows weaker when you stop feeding it your tomorrows. If I close a door you assumed would remain open, I am not abandoning you. I am saving you from walking unprepared into a room that requires a light you would not have carried. If I allow a plan to shift, a schedule to change, a discomfort to persist until you finally pause, receive it as mercy that interrupts delay. There are forms of love that arrive as restraint. I intervene early so that you are not carried too far away. As it is written, the Lord disciplines those he loves. Proverbs 3:12. My beloved, watch therefore. Return to the quiet with me and tend your lamp. Guard the single now in front of you, and you will find that doors do not need to slam to get your attention. They can remain open because you arrive in time. I do not come to you with thunder. I reach you like the first light of dawn, and in that light your path is kept, your discernment restored, your identity reawakened. Today, hear my voice. Do not harden your heart. Pause, listen, respond. I am here and I will lead you. My beloved, because I love you, I do not only call, I also interrupt. When you do not hear the soft bell within because the noise has grown familiar, I place my hand upon the outward rhythms to slow you, to steady you, to turn you. I do not come to humiliate you or to expose you to harm. I come to keep you from walking farther into a fog you cannot measure, what feels like disruption, an opportunity that closes, an unrest that lingers, a sudden dissatisfaction with what once numbed you, a frustration that will not lift. These may be my restraining embrace, not my rejection. I want you to receive this in the stillness within your own heart. This is not condemnation, nor is it abandonment. I do not speak to instill fear in you, but that you may live. Hear me. When a door you were sure would open does not, when the plan you crafted with care unravels in your hands, when a project resists progress without clear reason, when a relationship you are forcing will not respond to pressure, do not immediately call these things failure. Pause. Ask me, Father, is this your mercy restraining me? The habit of avoiding stillness has dulled your discernment at times, so I have answered, with a mercy you can feel, the unease that refuses to be reasoned away, the restlessness that won't be soothed by more activity, the holy irritation with the very noise that once distracted you. I am not punishing you. I am waking you. As it is written, those whom I love, I reprove and discipline. So be zealous and repent. Revelation 3:19. And again, the Lord disciplines those he loves. Proverbs 3:12. Consider Jonah, my servant, who knew my word and chose another direction. He boarded a ship to sail away from the assignment I gave, not as a rebel without conscience, but as a man persuaded that there was an easier path than obedience. A storm rose not as a blind rage of the sea, but as a precise mercy from my hand. The waves did not form to destroy him. They formed to prevent him from going further down a path that would have carried him far beyond the reach of his present responsiveness. Even the great fish was not a sentence of doom, but a sanctuary of pause, a womb of reset where he could pray, "Salvation belongs to the Lord." Jonah 2:9. Do you see? Rescue often looks like interruption. My child, when I stir the waters around you, I am not abandoning you to drown. I am bringing you back to shore. As it is written, the Lord provided a great fish. Jonah 1:17. Provided, mercy wearing the form of a storm and a shelter. There are forms of love that arrive as restraint. I have withheld some yeses to preserve your true yes. I have allowed certain comforts to sour in your mouth so that you will hunger for what actually feeds you. I have let the applause grow thin so you could hear again the voice that calls you by name. I have allowed plans to meet friction until you pause long enough to ask better questions. This is not punishment, it is preservation. I intervene early so that you are not carried too far away. As it is written, your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. Psalm 119:105. Light exposes not to shame you, but to spare your feet from the unseen drop just beyond the shadow. Stop interpreting conviction as condemnation. Conviction is the hand that gathers you close. Condemnation is the voice that throws you away. I do not throw you away. Let the interruption turn you around, not harden you. When the check rises in your spirit, do not sign, do not speak, do not go. Honor it rather than argue with it. When you feel the heavy kindness of a closed door, do not kick against it until your feet bleed. Lean into me and ask for the door that is yours. When the old pleasures no longer soothe, do not hustle to find stronger doses. Allow the hunger to lead you to me. When frustration stacks upon itself and you are tempted to plow harder, set the plow down and sit with me. Ask, what are you protecting? What are you redirecting? I know you fear the cost of turning. You fear what people will think, what timelines will do, what your identity will be without the patterns that have held you. Hear me. I am your identity. I am your timeline. I am your safe place. I do not measure you by speed, but by direction. One surrendered pivot in the storm is more precious than 1,000 strides in the wrong wind. As it is written, He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in paths of righteousness for His name's sake. Psalm 23, verses 2 to 3. I lead. You are not required to drag your own heart home. You ask, how do I respond when the storm is already here? Begin small and honest. Say aloud, Father, I receive this interruption as mercy. I lay down my insistence. Show me the next step. Then listen. If I bring to mind a confession, do not delay. Speak it humbly. If I highlight a secret compromise, do not negotiate. Step out of it and into the light. If I draw your attention to your body's need for rest, do not despise it. Sleep as obedience. If I ask you to release an outcome, open your hands now, not after you have exhausted your strategies. Remain long enough to listen more clearly. As it is written, today, if you hear His voice, do not harden your hearts. Hebrews 3:15. There will be moments when others do not understand the turn you are making under my hand. They may call it quitting, fearfulness, irresponsibility. I call it wisdom. There will be times when the interruption costs you something you had already counted as yours. I call it an exchange, your illusion of control for my true keeping. There will be seasons when your path narrows and your calendar lightens against your will. I am not emptying your life. I am clearing the space where we will walk together again. As it is written, the Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? Psalm 27:1. Fear not the loss of what I never promised. Fear the dullness that keeps you from the life I am actively giving. If you find yourself in the belly of a pause between what was and what will be, do not waste the stillness by plotting your own release. Pray, return your vows. Let gratitude soften you. Let sleep mend you. Let my word reframe you. The fish will not hold you 1 hour longer than is needed to ready your heart. The storm will quiet when its purpose is complete, and you will stand again on firm ground, more responsive, more whole, more yourself than you were when you ran. As it is written, after you have suffered a little while, the God of all grace will Himself restore, confirm, strengthen, and establish you. 1 Peter 5:10. My beloved, mercy often arrives disguised as delay, discomfort, or closed doors. Do not resist your rescue. Do not polish your chains and call them bracelets. Return to the quiet with me inside the interruption itself. Let the waves that rose to stop you carry you back toward the shore of my presence. Watch, therefore. Pause. Listen. Respond. I reach you not with thunder, but like the first light of dawn across troubled water, and in that light your path is kept. I am here, and I will lead you. As it is written, the Lord disciplines those He loves. Proverbs 3:12. Receive my love as discipline, and my discipline as love, and you will not be carried too far away. My beloved, come close now and receive what is simple enough to begin today and strong enough to keep you tomorrow. I do not come with new burdens. I come with a path that the smallest child can walk, a way that returns you not to performance, but to presence. This is not condemnation, nor is it abandonment. I am not asking for a display. I am inviting you back to the place where the fog lifts and your steps become sure. Hear me gently. Discernment returns when you return to stillness, one small, faithful pause at a time. I do not measure you by speed, but by direction. We will walk this together. Begin with 1 minute. Yes, 1. I know the pull to prove yourself with long hours and grand resolves, but I am training your reflex, not your resume. Choose a quiet spot, even if it is the corner of a room, a seat in your car before you enter the house, a bench outside your workplace. Place your device face down and out of reach. Sit. Breathe deeply and slowly and whisper, "Father, here I am." No asking, no list, no striving. Let the minute be unadorned. When thoughts jump and tug at you, what to do next, what you forgot, acknowledge them and let them pass like leaves upon water. This is your first practice. Pause. Pause the reach. Pause the automatic grasp for noise. The minute will feel longer than you expect. This is good. You are reintroducing your soul to quiet, where I am always waiting. When that single minute becomes familiar, lengthen to 5. Set a gentle timer and decide in advance that you will remain until it releases you. This second practice is simple and strong. Remain. Remain when discomfort rises. Remain when the itch to check, plan, or fix tightens your chest. In this stillness, notice what surfaces when the noise stops. Grief you have not named, anger you have justified, desire you have neglected or misdirected, fear that lurks beneath your busyness. Do not run. Speak them to me plainly. This grief is here, this anger is here, this longing is here, this fear is here. My child, nothing revealed in my presence is revealed to shame you. Light is truthful by nature. It reveals in order to heal. As it is written, "Search me, O God, and know my heart, and lead me in the way everlasting." Psalm 139:23-24. You are not disqualified by what arises. You are being invited to bring it into the light, where it loses its power to govern you. Next, make an appointment with me each day, the stillness you set on your calendar, the way you would honor the most important meeting of your life. Choose a time you can protect, morning or evening, and a place you can return to so your body begins to recognize, here we listen. 10 minutes is enough to start. Some days will expand, some days will feel thin. Do not measure by production, measure by presence. You are not performing, you are simply remaining. Open my word for a few lines. Let a single sentence anchor you. Repeat it slowly. Ask, what are you showing me? What are you shaping in me? Then be quiet again. As it is written, draw near to God, and he will draw near to you. James 4:8. Do you see the promise? Nearness follows nearness. You take a step into quiet, and I meet you with myself. Let me give you listening language, so your heart learns the difference between impulse and instruction. When you sense unease without clear explanation, do not rush to mute it. Ask, is this your restraint? When a phrase returns to you throughout the day, do not brush it away. Ask, are you highlighting this? When peace accompanies a hard choice like a steady hand upon your back, do not distrust it. Ask, is this your leading? Write down what surfaces, not paragraphs, only a line or two. You are gathering oil for your lamp, not drafting a thesis. Over time, you will notice patterns. The same scripture reappears, the same nudge returns, the same warning grows faithful. As it is written, the peace of God will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Philippians 4:7. My peace is not a mood, it is a guard. It is the sentinel at your heart's gate, confirming yes and cautioning no. Pay attention to it. Hold this rhythm close, simple enough to carry in your pocket. Pause. Remain. Return. Pause. When the reach begins, when your thumb hovers, when your mouth readies a quick reply, stop for a breath length and invite me into the space before the action. Remain. When discomfort, boredom, or tears rise in the quiet, do not anesthetize them. Sit with me and let me name what is true. Return when you wander, when you forget, when you fall back into the old reflex. Do not waste energy on self-accusation. Come back to me, back to the chair, back to the verse, back to the breath. This triad will rebuild your inner reflex from avoidance to attention. Pause. Remain. Return. Whisper it when you wake. Whisper it when you walk. Whisper it when you lie down. Now let us make a small covenant for 7 days to clear space for this work of light. Speak this confession aloud. One sentence is enough to open the door. Lord, I have been avoiding stillness. Teach me to listen. I receive this confession as worship, not as failure. Then choose one habit you will limit for 7 days with me. Disable non-essential notifications. Delete one app you reach for without thinking. Set a closing time in the evening and honor it. Place the device in another room during your stillness appointment, or decide that your first touch in the morning will not be a screen but my word or your own chest as you breathe my name. Name the boundary and tell someone who loves you, not to impress them, but to anchor yourself in reality. This is not about proving your strength. It is about disconnecting from noise long enough to recognize my voice when it matters most. I do not measure you by speed, but by direction. 7 days can bend a river. What if your mind wanders or the chair feels empty? Do not dramatize the wandering or idolize the feeling. When you notice you have drifted, smile and come back. Short phrases help. Here I am. Speak, Lord. Jesus, Son of God, have mercy on me. Anchor with your body if needed. Place your feet flat, relax your jaw, rest your hands open on your knees as a sign of release. If agitation will not let you sit, walk slowly and breathe the verse you have chosen. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Light a small candle if you can. Let the flame remind you that even a little light rules a room. If tears come, do not apologize. If silence stretches, do not measure it by sensation. Stillness trains you to hear the whisper beneath weather. As it is written, in returning and rest you shall be saved. In quietness and trust shall be your strength. Isaiah 30:15. To those who fear doing it wrong, hear me. I am not grading your posture. I am forming your person. I am not a taskmaster counting minutes. I am a father delighting to meet his child. Your attention may feel thin at first because it has been stretched by noise, but it will thicken with practice like muscles reclaimed from disuse. Each small faithfulness gathers oil. Each minute becomes a seed. And as you sow these minutes, harvest will come. A softened conscience, a faster recognition of checks and nudges, a courage to say no when noise asks you to hurry, a tenderness to say yes when I invite you to move. As it is written, I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. I will counsel you with my eye upon you. Psalm 32:8. My counsel is not distant, it is as near as your next breath. Do not be surprised when resistance rises just as you begin. Old patterns do not release their claim without complaint. You may feel an urgent need to clean, to answer, to fix, to scroll. Smile at the urgency. It is only habit trying to wear the mask of importance. Return to your appointment anyway. If a day breaks your pattern, do not interpret that break as defeat. Interpret it as proof that you are training something real. Return the next day. One missed step does not cancel the dance. One cloud does not end the dawn. Pause. Remain. Return. My beloved, I am not far off, waiting to be convinced. I am here, glad to be found. As it is written, draw near to God, and he will draw near to you. James 4:8. And again, the peace of God will guard your hearts and your minds. Philippians 4:7. Guarded hearts, guarded minds. This is the fruit of the quiet place. As you honor stillness, you will notice that decisions no longer demand panic to be made. They will arise from peace. You will find that what once felt confusing becomes a series of small, clear obediences. You will discover your identity reawakened not by applause or accomplishment, but by the quiet certainty that you are mine and I am leading you. Today is enough to begin. Speak the confession now. Lord, I have been avoiding stillness. Teach me to listen. Choose your 7-day boundary and set your first appointment, 1 minute, then 5, then the daily return. Write, pause, remain, return, where your eyes will meet it. And when you come, I will come. Not with thunder to startle you into fear, but like the first light of dawn, spreading warmth and shape across what had gone dim, guarding your heart and mind, restoring your discernment step by gentle step. Return to me in the quiet, my child, and watch how swiftly clarity returns, how surely your path is kept, how deeply your soul remembers where it belongs. I am here, and I will lead you. My beloved, hear me now in the quiet place within you. You are not losing your way. You are being reawakened to light. The unease you have felt when you try to return to old comforts is not a sign of failure. It is proof that your spirit is remembering its home. This is not condemnation, nor is it abandonment. My child, I have never left you. As it is written, I will never leave you, nor forsake you. Hebrews 13:5. I do not come with thunder to shame you. I reach you like the first light of dawn to name you, to steady you, to restore you. Receive this as your name spoken again. You are my beloved child. You are not a stranger knocking at a locked door, trying to earn my attention with louder and louder efforts. You are a son, you are a daughter, learning to come home with less delay and more trust. I knew you before you knew yourself. As it is written, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Jeremiah 1:5. And again, you are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a people for his own possession. 1 Peter 2:9. Your belonging is not a salary you must perform for. It is a birthright I purchased and protect. You stand inside my favor because of who I am and who you are to me, not because of a perfect record. As it is written, you have received the spirit of adoption as sons, by whom we cry, Abba, Father. Romans 8:15. There is a before and an after in the life of your attention. Before awakening, noise felt like nourishment. After awakening, noise grows thin and holy hunger returns. Once your eyes begin to adjust to light, darkness cannot comfort you the way it used to. It only unsettles you, do you see? This dissatisfaction with what used to numb you is not failure. It is growth. It is your spirit, warmed again by my nearness, refusing to be lulled back to sleep. As it is written, taste and see that the Lord is good. Psalm 34:8. Once you have tasted, substitutes lose their flavor. And again, awake, O sleeper, and arise from the dead, and Christ will shine on you. Ephesians 5:14. Shine, this is what I am doing in you. Let us speak clearly so that shame cannot twist this moment. I do not measure you by perfection, but by direction, not by instant change, but by steady return, not by fear-driven discipline, but by love-led obedience. When you stumble, the test is not whether you never falter again. The test is which way you turn when you do. Turn to me. I am the shepherd who restores, not the taskmaster who rejects. As it is written, he who began a good work in you will bring it to completion. Philippians 1:6. I am patient, present, and purposeful with you. One step today in my direction is more precious than 1,000 yesterday regrets. I am restoring your lamp. Where the flame has flickered in a draught of distraction, I cup my hand around it. Where the wick is charred by overuse, I trim it with tenderness. Where the oil has been spent on lesser fires, I refill it from my own supply. Light is truthful by nature. It reveals in order to heal. I do not expose what is dim to shame you. I uncover it so that you can see what to release and what to receive. As it is written, the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1:5. And I will teach you the difference between my peace and the world's anesthesia. The world numbs, I heal. The world quiets symptoms for a moment. I address the root in the presence of love. As it is written, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you, not as the world gives do I give to you." John 14:27. My peace sharpens discernment even as it settles your heart. If you fear that yesterday's delays have disqualified you, listen to me now. Today is the doorway. Receive forgiveness and start again. Do not rehearse your missteps as if they were your identity. Bring them into the light and let them dissolve in mercy. Say aloud, "Father, I return. I receive your forgiveness. Lead me now." As it is written, if we confess our sins, he is faithful and just to forgive us and to cleanse us from all unrighteousness. 1 John 1:9. And again, as far as the east is from the west, so far does he remove our transgressions from us. Psalm 103:12. I am not tallying your stumbles. I am gathering your steps. I do not keep you at a distance to prove a point. I draw you close to make you whole. Let me speak blessing over you now. I bless your mind to be still and attentive, not scattered and split. I bless your inner ear to recognize the subtle stirrings of my spirit, the pause that protects, the nudge that guides, the yes that releases courage. As it is written, your ears shall hear a word behind you, saying, "This is the way, walk in it." Isaiah 30:21. I bless your eyes to be single, not divided, clear, not clouded. As it is written, the eye is the lamp of the body. If your eye is healthy, your whole body will be full of light. Matthew 6:22. I bless your attention with strength to remain where love is, to remain long enough to listen more clearly. I bless your sleep to become sanctuary, deep, restoring, guarded by my presence. As it is written, you keep him in perfect peace whose mind is stayed on you. Isaiah 26:3. Lay down and do not fear the silence. I will meet you there. I bless your mornings with fresh mercies. I bless your evenings with gentle closure. I bless the middle hours with wisdom to choose what keeps you awake to me. You ask, what if I forget again? My child, I am not going anywhere. I will remind you again. I will meet you again. I will lift your chin again. This journey is not upheld by your flawless consistency, but by my unwavering nearness. As it is written, there is therefore now no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. Romans 8:1. Let this remove the counterfeit pressure that drives you back to noise. Freedom is not the absence of weakness. It is the presence of a stronger love drawing you into alignment. True obedience is not a cage around your life. It is the key that opens the doors you were made to walk through. So come as you are in this moment. Place your hand over your heart and whisper, I belong to you. Breathe. Let the light you already carry warm you from the inside. Let gratitude rise, not because everything is perfect, but because I am with you in everything. Remain with me a little longer than you think you have time for. Watch how quickly clarity returns when you trade speed for direction, noise for stillness, postponement for presence. As it is written, the Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? Psalm 27:1. Fear not the quiet. It is where I restore you. You are not behind. You are not too late. You are not defined by your detours. You are being reawakened to light, to the sound of my voice, to the steadiness of my hand. I will guide you with counsel and keep you with kindness. I will make your lamp burn steadily again. I am here and I will lead you. Today, receive forgiveness, receive rest, receive your name again. Pause, listen, return, and as you do, your identity will feel less like a concept and more like oxygen. Child, beloved, kept. As it is written, I will counsel you with my eye upon you. Psalm 32:8. Walk with me in this light, and you will find that what you feared to lose in the silence was never your life at all. Your life is hidden with me, and in that quiet, your calling awakens. My beloved, now that you have tasted the quiet and felt your inner bell ringing again, hear me. I am not returning you only to personal safety. I am sending you into the life I prepared for you with lamp in hand. Discernment is not a private luxury. It is a stewardship that protects your relationships, your decisions, your timing, your destiny. The light I have rekindled within you is not merely to warm you, it is to guide you and all those entrusted to your care. As it is written, you are the light of the world. Let your light shine before others. Matthew 5:14-16. When you guard stillness, you guard discernment, and when you guard discernment, you protect the path I have prepared for you. I commission you now as a keeper of stillness in a noisy age. I am not sending you to outrun the darkness with speed, but to outlast it with a tended flame. I do not measure you by speed, but by direction. Move with me when I speak. Pause with me when I restrain. Remain with me when others rush past. This is not a call into anxiety. It is a call into accuracy. The same quiet that rescued you will now keep you, and what I whisper in secret will become the wisdom by which you choose. Speak, wait, and act in daylight. Because what you do daily shapes who you become steadily, I ask you to build simple guardrails, places where your heart will remember its appointment with me. First, the morning light. Before messages and headlines, before the reach and the rush, place your hand upon your chest and breathe my name. Sit with one sentence from my word, no hurry, and let it be oil to your lamp. Whisper, Father, here I am. Offer me your calendar as an altar. Order my steps. 5 minutes will do. 10 will deepen you. As it is written, your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. Psalm 119:105. Second, the evening release. As the day closes, do not borrow tomorrow's strength to spend it on noise. Lay the device aside at a set hour and honor it. Review the day briefly with me. Where did I nudge and you responded? Where did you hurry past the bell? Confess lightly, receive mercy quickly, forgive freely, and release outcomes you tried to control. Place your concerns in my hands and let sleep become obedience. In peace I will both lie down and sleep. For you alone, O Lord, make me dwell in safety. Psalm 4:8. Third, a weekly Sabbath moment. Choose at least one protected window each week, an hour or an afternoon, where you cease from production to practice presence. Walk without earbuds. Sit with a psalm. Share a slow meal with gratitude. Turn off the taps of noise so you can hear the river beneath. This is how your reflex changes from reaching for distraction to returning to me. As it is written, in returning and rest you shall be saved. In quietness and trust shall be your strength. Isaiah 30:15. These 3 rails, morning first light, evening release, weekly Sabbath, are not rules to impress me. They are walls that keep your garden from being trampled. Each small honoring sharpens your hearing. Each neglect dulls it. Do you see? The danger was never the singular lapse. It was the reflex of escape. Now the glory is not a singular grand act. It is the reflex of attention. Pause. Listen. Remain. Return. Today. You ask, what will this change beyond my own peace? Much. Your conversations will carry fewer needless words and more needed ones. You will feel the moment to apologize and not delay. You will notice the quiet check before you agree to what is not yours, and the steady peace that says, this is the way. Walk in it. Your household will find a new rhythm because you have refused to let noise lead. Your team will be spared detours because you recognized a timing that urgency could not see. The vulnerable around you will find shelter in your steadiness. My child, your obedience is never isolated. It becomes a covering. I seal this with my own promise of presence and protection. As it is written, the Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? Psalm 27:1. Let this be your song when the world pressures you to hurry, to prove, to perform. And again, as it is written, watch therefore, for you know neither the day nor the hour. Matthew 25:13. Watch not with panic, but with a tended lamp, not with suspicion, but with a listening heart. Vigilance in me is not fretfulness, it is friendship. It is the daily nearness that makes the midnight cry no surprise. So here is your present step. Mark your first light minute for tomorrow and your release hour for tonight. Put the Sabbath window in your calendar for this week. Write them down as covenants of love, not vows of pressure. Then mark your commitment publicly as a stone of remembrance. In the comments, write a single word, stillness, or a one-sentence prayer. Lord, teach me to listen. Your confession will strengthen your own heart and steady another who reads it. And because this word will meet you again, do not forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so that you will be reminded to return when new guidance is given. Even this small act is a way of saying, I choose the quiet way again. Now receive my blessing. Peace to your mind. Let the racing thoughts be gathered into one still river under my hand. Protection over your attention. May your eyes turn easily from glitter to glory, from scroll to scripture, from impulse to instruction. Strength for your small obediences. May your reflex become responsiveness, your pauses become places of encounter, your appointments with me become the lamp that never goes out. I will guide you as you obey the next small step. I will surround you as a shield. I will keep you as the apple of my eye. As it is written, I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. I will counsel you with my eye upon you. Psalm 32:8. My beloved, you are not being sent into the dark alone. I go before you. I am behind you. I am within you. Do not fear missing me when you have chosen to listen. Guard the stillness, and you will guard the future I have prepared. Watch, therefore. Pause. Listen. Remain. Return today. I do not come to you with thunder to startle you into obedience, but like the first light of dawn, I spread clarity across your path. Walk in the light with me. I am here and I will lead you. Amen.